Hey guys, Triptych here, and I know I promised this to you several times, but now I'm actually going to deliver the second video describing the changes I have made to the Dominion faction in Triptych's mod. And I'm expecting this video to go pretty fast just because I already covered a lot of basic changes in the Borg, and the Borg just had more changes. The Dominion faction has a lot of changes in Triptych's mod, but they are relatively small changes to the files, or relatively small changes to the ships themselves that result in much bigger changes among the entire faction. So the main difference is that prototypes no longer do what they did previously. In 3.27 you would build a yard, and then from there you would have prototypes that you would build, and then a prototype would unlock a ship. In Triptych's mod, you have 3 yard levels for each type of yard. So it starts at level 1, which is actually cheaper than it was before, and then you can upgrade it to level 2. I should change that tooltip. Anyway, you upgrade it to level 2 and then upgrade to level 3. And basically, a level 1 yard can build just bugs, and then it can build the prototypes of these, which are, they don't rank up, and they are 10 speeds slower than normal, and that's about it. So they are inferior copies. They also don't have any special abilities. They're just sort of a stopgap if you're desperate. I might even remove them in the future, we'll see. But then when you upgrade to level 2, you have access to the Bomber and the S2 normal versions, and then the higher ones are still prototypes. And then when it's level 3, you have access to everything. Similarly with the large yard, it starts out just being able to build T-15s and a bunch of prototypes, and then you unlock the battlecruiser and the C-17, and then finally you get the battleship, and either the Defender or the Breen battleship if you were the Breen avatar. Because as a faction, you'll notice a lot of the early Dominion ships counters medium range, counters short range, counters long range. They had a lot of counters available to them, however their inability to switch very easily was a very limiting factor. So the idea is this does make it harder. Like, I've also removed caps on a lot of ships, so there is no cap on B5 on B8 ships anymore. It's just, if you upgrade a single yard, you can build them out of that yard. But if you want to, mass produce them, you're going to have 2 or 3 yards all upgraded to level 3. So it's even more expense going into your industry. And honestly, even though the B8 is an extremely solid ship, it's also had its crew reduced in Triptych's mod. But even though it's a very solid ship, if you build only long range ships, the enemy is going to counter you with stuff that counters long range. So yeah. Anyway, let's go into the ships. So, the Bug has received a large defense boost. It used to be 1411, now it is 1417, and it did receive a small price increase for this. This allows it to serve as the baseline for all of your field yard ships, because it has a defense of 17, while the S2 has a defense of 18. And certain other ships like the Breen Cruiser have a defense of 20. So this allows the Bug to be auto-targeted first, and it sort of serves similar to the Monsoon and the Intrepid with the Federation, where this is your nice tank ship. It's cheap, it gets shot first, and it lets you tank for your other stuff. The Bomber does have 15 defense, so it'll still get auto-targeted first, but the C11 has also had its defense increased to 20. So the Bug will be targeted first except for bombers. And it is the early game tank, and since it can be built without any yard upgrades, you could have, your home yards could be upgraded to higher levels, and you could be producing higher tech ships, while you could still be bumping bugs out of your level 1 yard that you build at your expansion maybe. The Bomber has had very little change. The only difference is obviously its special has gotten more powerful, because all specials have in Triptych's mod. Also the bugs has gotten more powerful. Yeah, it starts at 120 damage, which I believe is enough to kill a Monsoon. I think the Monsoon is just about the only ship in the entire game that gets killed by this in one hit. Maybe like a Saber, because the Federation have lower hull values than other ships. Maybe a Rien, but I think Rien might actually survive. But as soon as it ranks up, I think it goes to 150. So if you have a single rank, you can still kill smaller ships. But in general, it's a lot more damage than it was in Fleet Ops 3.27, but it's still not enough to just be one-shotting ships everywhere. But yes, so for the bomber, its attack profile has changed. It fires 3 torpedoes at once, and then it has a cooldown period, and then it fires 3 more. The idea behind this is just to have a cluster of like 5 or 6 bombers. It's easier to micro them around. You know, you can turn them towards the enemy to shoot and then fire, and then you can micro them away again, maybe. It also means that they are very good at crushing like a single Laval or something so fast it doesn't even have time to repair. The Escort cruiser has had its special change. It no longer has Alpha Ketracel White, instead it has EM Blast, and EM Blast has been changed. EM Blast only affects turrets now. However, it reduces their damage by 50% for 20 seconds. This also affects stations. I might change the duration on a starbase to be less, but we'll see. Basically, I've given anti-station abilities to races that need it for early raiding, and this is definitely an effective raiding ship. The idea is you can use this if the enemy has lots of turrets, and you can get in and do a bit of damage, especially with bugs tanking for it. The C11 Interceptor has lost its range increasing passive or ability, and it has gained shield recharge. It's also a lot more... One moment. Get off. Get off. Pardon me while my cat sends my printer into a test print or something. Yes, so its level 1 ability is the Energy Beacon, which restores energy to nearby ships. Its level 2 ability is the Cascade Feedback, which deals... it only affects support vessels within its area. However, it does damage and reduces special energy, and if you had several C11s using it all at once, you'll do quite a lot to support ships. And then its level 3 ability is the Shield Recharge, which it's, for those of you who were playing when the old generic support existed, the generic support had around 800 energy, and it only has 360 energy, so it cannot do a large amount of repairing, but it can do a little bit. It can do enough to keep a ship alive and allow it to escape into a yard. This might be changed in the future, but for now it stays. The C11 is also a support ship, or a command ship, so it can command small and medium ships. I don't think that doesn't actually include the T-15. It can support these ships, the ships that come out of the field yard, giving them a 20% rate of fire bonus. The B-8 War Frigate has changed very little. Since it is a troop ship, it has gained a tractor beam passive, and I have lowered its crew because it used to be 475, and that was just gross. Other than that, I think nothing has changed, except for the fact that it is no longer capped. The large yard ships, the T-15 has had almost no changes to it from its base version, except for when it becomes a veteran, it gains the Tetryon Disruptor ability, similar to the C-17 Siege Cruiser. The Siege Cruiser, no changes to its stats. It has lost EM Blast and gained Alpha Ketracel White, which is, it has an increased rate of fire bonus. It used to be 30%, now it's 40% and 15%, or 15-second duration. I believe this may currently be bugged out so that it doesn't affect ships that are being affected by command. So this is going to need to be changed in the future, unfortunately. However, that's its level 2 ability, and its level 1 is still the Phase Shield. And then basically it used to be when it became veteran, it would get a special counter weaponry ability that did extra damage to artillery ships. Now I've just folded it into a bonus for the Tetryon Disruptor. So when it reaches veteran rank, the Tetryon Disruptor does like triple or quadruple damage to artillery ships. It's almost enough to kill a steam runner in one hit. The B-5 Battlecruiser has become a command ship. It will command all ships in the Dominion arsenal with a 20% rate of fire bonus. It has also had its cost modified. It's more expensive on regular resources and costs less supply than it did, and its crew has been reduced slightly. A lot of these ships have received minor tweaks to their cost, especially their tritanium cost. The V-13 battleship, I think almost nothing has changed in this ship, actually. Yeah, absolutely nothing's changed. The S7 Defender has had a slight speed increase, that's all. And it's special, no, it's still medium range. If you are the PureTech avatar, you gain access to a pair of alpha refits. These refits they can be built from the yard, or they can be refitted directly once you have gotten the Ketracel White facility. And basically they cost a huge amount of supply off of their basic versions. So you see 42, 82. Basically it's for when you have an economy that is completely run away on supply, it gives you something you can spend it on. The bug version deals increased damage against destroyers and has greatly increased offense value, while the T15 version has a beam weapon and has both increased offense and defense. Yeah, and some system. For the Breen avatar, the Breen torpedoes have been modified. The Breen cruiser has been modified so that it actually, even though it is a torpedo weapon, it does not miss like a torpedo. It has a beam weapon profile. So its overall damage has been reduced, but it hits normally, meaning it's equal strength against all types of enemies. However, it does still have a high miss chance against, for example, the Vutpa. Anything that has a specific dodge bonus against torpedoes gets it against this, but like the default miss chance for being medium or small does not affect. It also has a very small chance to disable subsystems when it hits. This doesn't come into play when you have a small number, but when you have a large number of them, like 5 or 6, you will start getting disables. And the Breen battleship, similarly, it does not have its miss chance removed from its torpedoes. However, it has a significantly higher disable chance when its torpedoes hit things. For the hyperspace artillery, oh, I actually did that wrong. The PureTech can still build 2 hyperspace artilleries, and their special damage is increased from what it used to be. However, it happens more over time. So if the enemy, even once the explosion goes off, damage will continue to happen here for several more seconds. Yeah, for 10 seconds. So you still, if you fly out of the area, you'll take reduced damage. The Breen one does more damage, but you can only have 1 hyperspace artillery. So if you have 1 Breen hyperspace artillery, you get 750 plus, well, yeah, 750 to structures plus the AoE. If you have the PureTech one, you get 500 plus the AoE, but you can actually have 2 PureTech ones, but only 1 Breen. For the Mixtec, Mixtec is now integrated into the tech tree, so you can build a single experimental yard. It requires the tech lab, similar to the large yard, and its default is it can research technology like this. It can research each of the races' technology, or you can have a enemy command ship come, or an enemy constructor come and use the transfer technology special ability here on your starbase, these will light up green when you have that race's technology, and that will allow you to build its Mixtec. The other races, other than Borg and Dominion, their experimental yard will always have 1 ship that it can just build by default. The Borg do not, or the Dominion do not, because they have the Dreadknots. So the Borg Tech S2 cruiser gains the regeneration special, which makes it a really nasty raider. And the Federation Tech C17 siege cruiser gets 2 fighter craft. Follow it around. If you have a large number of them and you were to upgrade them all to this, then you'd have quite a lot of fighters. The Klingon technology bomber gains a compound torpedo ability. Its technology is tied to this one, so if you research its torpedo, you'll have this one as well. This is similar to the Sang's special a little bit. So you can't choose the target, but it does a bit more damage. Also, the energy cost of their specials it's lower energy cost, so you can use it more often. And the C11 with Romulan technology has a cloak. As for the Dreadnoughts, they've also received a bit more of a difference. The Borg Dreadnought will slowly board enemy nearby units. Every 4 seconds, it boards them with 3 crew within that radius, which doesn't do very much, but if there's an enemy ship that goes derelict because it was being boarded or its life support, went away, then this will capture it for you. Also, if it is in a fight against a large number of small ships for long enough, it will start to low crew them. The Federation technology one has a command bonus. Now, one of the things about command is a ship that has fleet command cannot be affected by command. So the other Dreadnoughts can actually be affected by the B5's command aura and get a rate of fire bonus. The Federation one cannot, but it is a command ship, which means it provides command for other ships, and it's very difficult to remove, obviously, because it has 111 defense. The Klingon one has a cluster torpedo weapon that goes off automatically as it fires. It basically gets the field of fire special of the Luspet every couple seconds. Yeah, actually it does that as well. It's not going off because these are friendlies. However, it does hull damage. And the Romulan one has an energy beacon that restores energy of nearby Dominion ships. And it also has the extra system value, which is the real reason to build it. Okay, somebody needs to go kill this thing. The perimeter no longer has 3 different upgrades. It only has one upgrade that upgrades it into a heavy perimeter. The heavy perimeter is similar to the Ultimate Star bases. It is immune to subsystem disablings, which makes it head and shoulders above other turrets. For example, it also would not be affected by the EM blast of the S2 cruiser. And you can still only have 3 of these. And I believe that is just about everything. Oh, the B5 battlecruiser has had its special changed because the old one did not work. The current one does variable shield damage and does a life support disable. So you can use these to strip away their shields. Since the special doesn't do any hull damage, it'll leave them with their shields gone and full hull, so you can start boarding them. And, you know, it'll just be nice because it also disables their life support.
We have been created to serve.
Oh, right, it's not actually a troop ship. It's just a ship with very high crew. And I believe this is all the traits of the Dominion that have changed. Oh, finally, the Hyperspace sensor station that was previously PureTech only is now available to both avatars. I've built it over here. As you can see, it is the strategic vision of the Dominion. It has the highest vision range of anything in the game, covering a super nice area. You can only build one at a time. And its special has been modified so it cannot use it as often as it could before. And it is cooldown based, not energy based. However, it reveals a larger area and it lasts a lot longer than the previous version. So instead of getting like one screen full that you could cast like 5 of them in a row, you can only cast the one, but it'll let you see an area for quite a long time. And I believe that is all the changes of the Dominion. So let's do the Federation next. And since I forgot this, I'm just going to slap it in on the end. Another thing to mention is the difference between the PureTech and Breen avatars. The PureTech avatar gains a discount to upgrading those shipyards to higher levels. This sort of makes up for how it used to have a discount for the prototypes. And the Breen avatar gains a discount for upgrading ship, weapons, shields, and engines. In addition, the Breen avatar gets an engine upgrade, as it did before, and the PureTech avatar gets a sensor upgrade. So the avatar you choose determines which upgrade you get. And the sensor upgrade is obviously cheaper and much stronger than the engine upgrade because engine upgrades are really powerful. I've removed the life support upgrade because it did not do anything important.